everybody. All right, Corbin, did you say hi? Corbin and I are just hanging out here in this studio, getting some stuff done. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. We're cleaning. It's terrifying. I personally am absolutely terrified by it. Corbin, how about you? Terrified? Oh, he's chilling like a villain. Wow, chilling like a villain. Anyway, so, yeah, cleaning up the studio. And, problem with having a lot of bookshelves is that when you're organizing your books and you're cleaning up your bookshelves, tidying them up a little bit and kind of dust everything, not only do you have sneezing fits for the remainder of the day, but at the same time, as soon as you start moving one thing after another, and what I did today was forget which shelves things go back on. So yeah, I've got a lot to get back in order before my wife gets home, but at least everything will be dusted. So that's exciting, isn't it, Corbin? Him doesn't dust at all. This guy, not a help at all. Okay. All right, so here's today's page up on the screen. Let's get down to business. Here's today's page up on the screen. It's 3 Prompt Tuesday, so if anybody has a prompt that they want to spit out like hot fire for me to put into, today's story page, feel free to put it in the chat. And as always, if you've got a one-page suggestion you want to put down, you're welcome to do it in the comments of any of my social media, or DM me. I get DM'd, but I get DM'd random questions. Nobody ever asked me questions on the chat or in the comments, but I get DM'd questions. It's different, right? Today's music of choice that I'm listening to and that I highly recommend is Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. Okay, so today's page is, the suggestion yesterday from Gary was 2 miles long. No, it wasn't. It was, everyone is complimenting someone's costume, but they're actually in their normal clothes and getting increasingly confused and angry. So this is the page that we did in pencil crayon, and scanned it and stuck it up there. So just a fun little, this is, I think that when you see shows and you see a time traveler show up and sneak around, yeah, no, there's how do you go anywhere near a place without people figuring out you're there? And then how do you immediately blend in without people figuring out that you don't belong? Come on. Also, there's a lot of things in the past that you don't want to go back to. So why would you do it, right? So, this is my fun little time travel story. Okay, so let's see. We got a couple different things on the docket that I want to get done. Before I forget, the Eventbrite is set up right now for people to sign up to attend either in person or during a stream. And the stream, I'll have the stream link for you as we get closer to the event. But this is on Sunday, November 12th, which is this Sunday, from 2 to 4. I will be teaching live in an art gallery downtown here in London. And I put the Eventbrite link up yesterday on yesterday's video. The information's there. And I can also put it on this one at the end of the stream today so that you can link up that way. But you just look up the title, which is Creating One-Page Stories Daily Through Comics. And that's my name. So, yeah, so if you're interested in taking part in that, it would really help if we kind of figured out what kind of numbers in advance and stuff like that for those of you that are local. Those of you online, dial in. It's going to be fun. Yeah, so we've got that going. It's the 10th anniversary of the Words Festival. It's a event that promotes local authors and, some really good stuff that I've witnessed at Words Festivals in the past. And I'm really looking forward to this event. It looks to me to be something that we're going to have fun, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see. So the last few days I've worked. Stop licking my arm. He's licking my arm. I'm talking about Corbin, not just random imaginary friend in my head. So last few days, we've done a lot of color and mixed media and things like that, including this page was drawn in pencil crayon on a gray colored piece of paper, which gives it this kind of a weird quality, but you know, I like it. But it kind of makes everything sort of have this kind of strange glow to it, I find. So if if we put more time into like singular images as opposed to larger, trying to do a narrative composition with a number of panels, I'm sure I could figure out the right combination of values on that page. But in the meantime, we got what we got, which I'm still pleased with. So, so today I thought that we would draw in pencil and ink for today's suggestion. Now, I've got a backup 3 prompt suggestion today in case people can't people don't want to put one in. So it's yeah. Okay, well, anyways, I'll put it up. So, and you're gonna love how I did it too. It's National Hitchhiker Law. Those are my 3 words, which is so completely random. But how did you come across those, Chris? Man, I'm glad you asked. Okay, so I've been, like I said, sorting the library, and as I'm doing that, I've got all these books all over my desk. So I literally looked at 3 books and picked up a word off of each of them, and I did that like 5 minutes before I started the stream today. So it's it's how it happens. Hi everybody. Okay, we got Chris joining us. Hi Chris, how you doing? Hi Aditi, welcome aboard. So our 3 words today is National Hitchhiker and Law. What I'm going to do with that? No idea. So, that's, I guess, part of the fun. I don't know. Why don't we start with highway? Right? Like that's, that's. What are you doing, Corbin? Put that down. Okay, there we are. So, yeah, I think I'll just get crack-a-lacking on it and start, tuning into the old Memorio and figuring out what we're going to work on. So, National Hitchhiker and Law. Oh, I should put it down in the thing. It's been a hectic couple of weeks of changing up the house a lot. And with changing up the house, we've moved our room to the main floor of the house and put the television back on the main floor of the house, and she switched up the different rooms like that. And so with that much upheaval, it sort of gives you a cleaning bug. And so we've been cleaning the whole house in different ways. And so that's what got me started on completely pulling apart the library today, like an absolute maniac. So, okay, there's a really cool painting by an artist here in London named Jack Chambers. And he was here in London. He's passed now. But he had a painting called The 401 Towards London. And I used to go to the gallery and just sort of stare at this painting. And because it was almost photorealistic. And for the time, that was a big deal. It's still a big deal in my mind now, but we live in an age where everything is just so easily commonplace to just do this, AI business that sort of gives you a shortcut into making everything look like it's a realistic photo, and it's just some AI doodly-doo program. But back then, I mean, he painted this in oil, and I think it's 6 or 7 feet square. But that painting had big impact on me, and so while I don't have it in front of me, I'm going to do a kind of reference to it with the first panel. But it's fun when you're thinking about stuff and you've got ideas that come across your way from referring to experiences in the past and seeing what that gives you. And for me, I mean, that I spent a little bit of time in front of that painting in a gallery, and you know, so you do your best, right, Corbin? Corbin agrees. So I hope everybody's having a good week. It's Tuesday already. I've been working like crazy on a couple of things. And so because of that, I have had to be Mr. Serious. And I have not had an awful lot of time for things that I really want to do right now. Like I want to, catch up on the videos, and I want to, go through like the Instagram feed or something like that. And at this point, I'm just doing my best to answer people's questions and stuff like that. So forgive me if I'm a little behind on things at the moment, folks. This happens, even to the best of us, which is not me. So, but in the interim, I'm getting a lot done, and I should be able to have some announcements about some stuff happening. So, it's good to be busy. Never complain about having things to do. I've also never understood people like, oh, I'm so bored. What? How? I don't like that line, and it doesn't like me. We know where we stand with each other. Isn't that the noisiest eraser you've ever heard? But I like it. It makes it so easy on the wrist. Okay, so I'm just going to throw down some more of these lines. This is the highway, and there's a sort of fantastic slight. Now, the thing about the 401 Towards London painting that I've referred you to, and I highly recommend you look it up. Jack Chambers. He was also an independent filmmaker, and got a couple of DVDs and things and books about him. Like this is the artist that had the biggest impact on me growing up. Him and Caravaggio, those are my big guns. Judy says she thought Corbin was snoring. Corbin, she thought you were snoring. Corbin, check. Are you snoring? Well, they want to know. No, he's just indifferent. He's sensitive. He's a sensitive boy. It's my eraser that they're referring to, Corbin. It's just the eraser. Anyhow, this painting that I'm telling you about, this Chambers piece, is that it's all sky. There's like 4 feet of this painting is just this beautiful blue sky. And you just get swallowed up by paintings like that when you see them in person. So anyways, I recommend you look at his work. It's absolutely incredible. He is a guy I have talked about on a stream before because of his idea of perceptual realism. And, the idea that we could try to capture a moment in a static image, but we can never really truly do that because trying to represent this moment with a static image doesn't include all of the different little facets of that moment. And one of those things could be like, in the case of Olga and Mary visiting, there's Olga and Mary sitting across from each other talking, but then Mary's also laughing, and Olga, is regularly sipping her tea. So how do you represent them talking, laughing, and drinking tea at the same time without doing, multiple heads or hands floating in the environment? You have to look it up, but it's very, very interesting to me, very exciting stuff. Hey, Barbara, welcome aboard. We're just getting cracking on today's 3-Prompt Tuesday. 3-Prompt Tuesday. Howdy, Dan. How are you? And everybody saying hi to everybody. It's Sky pilot, how high can you fly? I was worried that you're going to do butterfly in the sky. I can see twice as high. If you know what song that is, you just became one of my people. Do you know what song that is, Corbin? Corbin? He's not talking at all today. All right, so I'm just putting down some of these shapes, trying to represent, you know, the trees along the side of the highway, and now it just looks like lines for the most part. But you know, check it out. Corbin's on it. Baby's making noises. What do we got? Not cracking, Christopher. It's crack-a-lacking. There we go. I'm not talking today. That crack-a-lack Dan right up. Sometimes Corbin gets this elitist attitude. I don't have to talk all the time. I'm cool. You're not cool. You just want to be my friend. Okay, so back when the 401 was only 2 lanes. So I'm going to ink this all. So right now I'm just sort of putting in our rough shapes. But here's a representation of the highway. The highway and you. Right, so let's get at it. Enough bitter fatter, let's get at her. Okay, today, stippling. Okay, what do we got? Uh-oh, everybody behave. Jim Luan. How you doing, sir? Welcome aboard. So, this is going to be the most intense, exciting action that you've ever seen in a stream. But I'm going to try a bunch of little fiddly bits of fun here and doing my best to represent some of the details in this image. It's fun when you see images of the Canadian highway system specifically, is what I'm referring to. When you see images of that from the 1960s, everything's beautifully manicured and ordered, and there's just sort of this lovely, they clearly spent time mowing the highway on the sides and in the center. And then when you look at our highway system now, it just looks like this consistent state of upheaval as they're desperately trying to keep up with the speed of cars and how much that they're, you know, they're using the highway, and so or abusing the highway for that matter. So it's sort of lost some of that charm, you know, like there's clearly a kind of elegance with the highway before, and it's gone. It's gone. But looking at those older images sort of brings it back a little bit. Oh, Barbara, what did you just do? Christopher's channeling his inner Surratt. That's where it's at. I can't stand that song. If Lori's watching this, I'm sorry. I can't stand that song. Lori really likes Tom Cochran. And I'm a bad Canadian. I've got this thing lately, it's probably getting far older than that, but I've got this thing where I like alternate versions of songs. Like there's what do you call that band? What do you call the kind of band where you're in a Hispanic restaurant and a bunch of guys come up on their guitars and they're all singing to the, and I'm sorry, I don't know what they're saying, but I think they're wonderful. But I heard there's a band in Mexico where they just cover Black Sabbath, and that's awesome. And that's awesome to me. So I like things like that, and I've heard some really good versions of other kinds of people. I heard an opera lady doing "Life Is a Highway," and that's easily my favorite version of that song. Hiya, Candy. Welcome aboard. Mariachi. Thank you very much, Chris. It's a mariachi band doing Black Sabbath. There's also a jazz band that does Black Sabbath called Brown Sabbath, and they're incredible. It's just because Sabbath is far more complex, and early Sabbath is far more complex and interesting than I think a lot of people realize nowadays. But the weakest part of Black Sabbath is the singer. That an incredible band, and so to hear these alternate versions of that is great. But by the same account, I know of 6 different versions of Old 55, which is a Tom Waits song, and if you get a chance, try to find some of the other ones. Like the Eagles cover Old 55, and Sarah McLachlan covers Old 55. Like there's just so many different versions of the same song. It makes it a lot of fun to me. Really, who's the Mexican Iron Man? I don't know. We've talked about this before in the stream, where we've tried to think about like Bruce Wayne, Batman, in the Hispanic parts of the world. It's called Bruno Diaz. It just makes so much sense, because why would there be a guy with the most anglicized white name you could possibly get trying to blend in as Bruce Wayne? What is it? Metal Lucky. They're from the U.S. I've seen them. Oh, is that right? Fantastic. Dee Dee saw Black Sabbath. Nice. Early 70s, so that would have been the original lineup. Nice. Stop that. Baby is at my chair in my sitting area in the library there. She's like, don't worry. This thing looks like it could use a scratch. Let me get that for you. Okay, so starting off with National Hitchhiker Law, I thought that we would start with a picture of our highway, and then using a whole bunch of different little ink techniques, like stippling, which I'm not the most patient guy in the world for drawing. Stippling. I had a teacher in high school that wanted us to draw our shoes on a full-size Bristol paper and to take up as much of it as we could, doing it in stippling, which, by the way, is a lot easier if you don't use these, but you use a full-size Sharpie. But it was amazing to me how many people were handing in, these drawings of their shoes where it's like a big piece of Bristol board and the shoes are like a foot tall, just because by the time you realize what you're doing, you've reduced the whole image down. So same thing with I've been trying for the life of me to figure out what in the world Janet M. Young is talking about when she talks about Zentangles, because I'm not hip with all you kids and your lingo. And I finally figured out what it was. But, it took me a while to understand what a Zentangle was. We used to have to do where you start a drawing and, let's see, you start a drawing with a single line, and you're not allowed to let the pen or leave the paper but you've got to get all the details in on your object that you're drawing without lifting your pen off once. And this is where I know I'm getting old, because I can't remember what that's called. But I thought that was Zentangle. I didn't get it. Anyways, I'm figuring it out. How dare you besmirch the vocal prowess of Ozzy Osbourne? Yes, he can sing. The translation of Batman, the Mexican translation of Batman is guano droppings. I don't think that's wrong. Yep, sorry. Dio's even worse. Route 42, Christopher. There you go. So I've been trying to learn all these different terms of some of the processes that people are doing and find out more about those. But we used to just call out line art, the thing I just showed you. And but even the names of things as they were changes over time too. But I know that there's got to be a more sophisticated name than that. But honestly, what is all this? Oh, okay. I can't remember. I'm the guy that can never remember those things. Okay, some fun. So I'm gonna play with different techniques as we're going here. And so one of the techniques we're gonna give a go right now is this. This is a piece of Zipatone Letraset, and so we'll just snippety snap that and put it in the image. What have I got on the top? What's on the bottom? Oh, you get. All right. See that measuring? Oh, isn't that good? Such grand measuring skills. Just get across. Okay. What am I missing? All this continuous line drawings, perhaps. Yeah, I think it's just that. I think it's all this. One-page idea. The goth version of The Office. Robert Smith as Michael. Jesus. Goth version of Office. Continuous line. Thank you. All right. Goth version of Office starring Robert Smith. That's really easy. You just do a pure video. I don't have nails. Why don't you have nails, Chris? None of your business. Yeah, well, I cut this wrong. It doesn't matter. I'll fix it. 2 shakes of the lambs. Anyways, I used to love using this stuff when I was a teenager. It's largely just kind of, you got to order it online if you're going to get any of it, and it's expensive and a pain in the butt, and, but you get to do some quick details using Letraset with minimal effort. And that's kind of fun. As long as it works correctly. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Okay. And I'm going to put a piece here. That ain't perfect, Chris. I know. Okay. I'll put you back on this We'll use you later. Stick around. Okay. What am I missing? Dee Dee says, could Jane at the show your Zen tangles and box in a collection she's made? I will. Barbara loves The Office. Dee Dee wants to know if she's the only person that didn't like The Office. She wants to slap them all. And Jim says, yes. No, but keep it to yourself. It's the law. You must love The Office. My sons like The Office. Yeah, this next generation of kids coming up, they all like The Office. It's kind of like when we put Silly Putty in the oven in the 70s. There we go. Surgery in progress. Gotta go now. See you tomorrow. See you around somewhere. Have a great afternoon. Bye. Thanks for stopping by, Chris. And Dee Dee says, I never tried that, Dan. I like Silly Putty too much to hurt it. Okay, so here's a secret for you. My middle names are Michael and Scott. So, yeah. It's not the name of the guy in the British version of The Office. Ricky Gervais's character has a different name. What was really funny to me was when he applied for Michael's job in after Michael had left the show, that the show's co-creator, came and applied for Michael's position at the company, and they're like, no, he doesn't seem qualified enough, which is probably the most intelligent thing that's ever happened on that show. Because that guy wasn't qualified for anything. That was kind of the whole point. So this is kind of a fun way to speed up putting interesting textures and developments and stuff like that in your composition. And I tend to save the little bits and try to reuse those, and I'll incorporate some of those in a few minutes. You'll see what I mean. You know, and then there's some they're just too small. If I can get them just not stick on my finger, that's grand. Okay, so here's the start of today's page, and I've got more of this Zibetone to use as well. So we'll be doing this throughout the composition on this page. This is why I wasn't too worried, by the way, about the big gap in the two different pieces that I put down, is because I knew that it was over an area that was going to get removed anyways. But I'm missing all kinds of stuff. Sorry, guys, I try to keep up, but, you know. This is a cereal box off the honeycomb box. Honeycomb's big. It's not small. Barbara was too busy making copies of the comics for their Silly Putty. She had no time to put it in the oven. And Dee Dee too. That's the real truth. Mom and Dad didn't want you by live flame. Silly Putty in the oven sounds delicious. Does anybody remember putting, a little piece of necklace or something into a pill bottle and then sticking it in the oven and melting it? Does anybody else remember doing that back in the day? Because that was not so healthy. So when you're doing a character in a story and you put this stuff over them, it sort of gives these neat little gray tone textures to their form, right? You know, and my wife started the kitchen on fire in the 80s. The Easy Bake Oven, that was a great thing back in the day. The main ingredient was love. Damn it. Okay. Yeah, that went wild. We got a loose knife here. We got a wild knife. Okay, so this is the last little bit of this fussy business, and oh, you suck. Okay. It ain't easy doing this little bit of fussy cutting with gorilla hands. Okay. So there's that. And then the other part of the fun is going over top of it, because you can still work over top of the surface of these suckers with the black, and as well as quickly gave up, didn't I, on stippling today? Yeah, that is the most boring process to watch in the world. Unless it's sped up. I'll do a stippling video where I speed it all up. So anyways, you put down, you can put down some black, and you can put down some white right on top of the zipatone, which I always think is just grand. So now you've got all this easy texture that's gone down, this easy gray tone, you know, and then you can still add more to it. I'll hold it up in just one sec. Okay. Now hopefully this lame-o camera is going to focus enough. Usually that works. Anyways, is it working this one better? To wash it out too much. Stupid. I'll fix that. So we got our highway started, and you know, so here's our introduction to our story, and then after that we can introduce our hitchhiker dude. So let's just jump ahead and do that. Okay, so let's do our hitchhiker guy, and then we'll throw some zipatone on him too. Billy Joel. Nothing said spank my butt like underage kids with fireworks. There you go. We used to play tag with fireworks when I was a teenager. Anyone want to invest my sea monkey farm? Oh, yes, please. Only thing we put in the oven were shrinky dinks. Hello. I think that's sort of the same thing, the shrinky dinks, isn't it? I think the pill bottle is just the poor man's version of it. But you got an ant farm going, Jim, too? Boy, goodness. And Malcolm says, I can use some crypto on that, Jim. Hi, Janet. Hi, Malcolm. Welcome aboard, both of you. Or as Dee Dee calls salty snacks, she calls them Chex Mags. Very cool cutouts, Christopher. Oh, thanks, Dan. So yeah, if you're able to find some of this stuff online, so what it is it's a clear acetate with a texture on it. And I've got some more here with some various textures, as you can see. And we're going to incorporate those in the next image that we're going to put down. So, right, everybody's saying hi to each other some more. So, so I think that this is the intense drawings that I'm doing for our guy. See, doesn't he look perfectly representative of a person on the road? In my head, this makes sense. I'll make sense of this in 2 seconds. I promise you. I wouldn't let you down. What in the world is he scribbling? What's wrong with this? Just draw a normal picture. Okay. So, his arm out. So you can also get like plaid zipatones and stuff like that, but you know, this is just the regular old gray tones that I'm using here today. So give them a little bit of hair. There it is. Bingo. Ooh, he's got a stick with the stuff in it over his shoulder, just like a cliche. So we've already got some interest in the event on Sunday. I'm pretty pleased. You know, I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be a slightly different take in that if people are going to suggest things on the fly, and off I go. So that'll be pretty high energy. But this is, I'm going to do it the same way as I do it when I go into schools and I'm working with kids, because there's a kind of immediacy that the kids like the engagement where, you know, they suggest a horse. Now, bear in mind, you got to figure out how to draw a horse in the fly. But now it's the horse that's a hockey player. No, he's the goalie. He's a goalie, so he's not just a hockey player. He's the goalie. And a beaver scores a goal on him, like something like that, and that's a lot of fun. So, Janet, that's a hitchhiker, not a lone serial killer. Yeah, Janet doesn't recognize him because she can't see his butt. Christopher's discovering Zentangles. Give me your old collection of them, Janet. Barbara needs the Hubble telescope to see that image. Yep. Just now discovering Zentangle hangs out with me. Slow to learn. Yeah, well, first you were teaching me snark. Missed those streams, Janet. Yeah, I do. I try my best to catch all of them, but how are you doing? Welcome aboard, Sophie Alameda. Welcome aboard. And she's sending me a picture of a cat, orange cat whistling, orange cat whistling. Didi hitchhiked across Texas when she was 14. She wouldn't do that these days. It's a spooky world these days. Yeah, so I've got the Hitchhikers, I've got all of the Hitchhikers books, and I'm not sure if people are aware of this. Hold on a second, and I'll show you. Like I showed this earlier, I picked 3 books off the stacks that are on my desk right now as I'm, moving the library around because I started cleaning shelves, and that started it all. So as I'm doing so, because I've got so many books stacked on my desk, I grabbed 3 and picked a word off of each one. But as far as the Hitchhikers go, there is this cool biography of Douglas Adams. And then there's this, which is 5 complete novels and the short story of Zaphod Plays It Safe, which, it's the only copy I've seen that had that in it. And then is Jon Colfer's continuation of it. And another thing, it's the part 6 of 3. Because it was originally supposed to be a trilogy, and he added a 4th book, and then he added a 5th book. So he still says it's of 3, because he's a very funny person. And so this guy's continuing on the story. And so if you get a chance, check it out. But this guy's finishing off the story from Douglas's notes. So Jon Colfer, that's the person that Douglas had continue his work. So Do you want to? I can give people the ISBN if they want to try to find it. I got a price sticker on it. Hold on. See if I can get the price sticker off the ISBN. Oh, I hate stickers on things. Yeah, I'm never going to find the ISBN that way. Let's just look inside the front. Because it's also in the publishing and DCM. 978-1-4013-2358-5. Yeah. Okay. Great book. Anyways, I really enjoyed it. It's a good continuation of the Hitchhiker's books. So, okay, so I'm just putting some of these lines down. I'm going to monkey around in a second once I put the zipatone in there. I'll get down to this again in a second, too. To make more sense, I tend to use the zipatone to advantage by not having to put as much down. You put the zipatone down, and then you just clean up the bits and fill in the differences. Because why would you ink a whole thing and then put a textured surface down over top of it and then have to go about inking stuff out or inking stuff back in again? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So you see what I mean? It's just two shakes of a lamb's tail once we get crack-a-lackin'. That's from Barbara. I'm probably missing a bunch of stuff in conversation. I'll get back to it in a second. All right. Do we want to do that one, or do we want to do, let's do bits and pieces? So you can reuse some of the stuff that you've already cut from different things. I'll just stick this stuff down and draw on top of it anyways. There's no specific way I think it has to be used. Except for I do need to remember where I put the knife so I can cut it. Oh, I'm glad I have a moat around my house to keep the drawbridge and can keep the drawbridge up. I wonder if Robert will get me a moat for my birthday. It's a gift that keeps on giving. There you go. The flying cows from the catapults aren't a bad idea, Barbara. What is happening right now? Everybody's talking like silly, crazy fun. So the idea here is that utilizing this zipatone as you're working, which is this clear semi-transparent acetate that has texture on it, it saves you the process of having to ink all of these different bits of information in your compositions. That's what we're up to in the moment. And then here comes the excitement. Hold on to yourselves now. It's going to be too much for this. There are different kinds. And you can utilize those in different ways. So putting it across the image enables you to, make it seem like it's completely natural and intentional. And the beautiful thing about them is that you can draw on top of this stuff and all these multiple examples and textures that they have. So, but rather than spend this time trying to do stippling or some fine little technique, I've just stuck this stuff down, and happy days. Moving on with the life. So we've got another piece to put down here. And I'll lay that there. Don't need that long, that's why I tripped it, or clipped it, sorry. So then I go again and I cut out this part of it too. So now I've got this pattern that runs behind the character. And so because I can come in, just organized today. So many things I'm behind on that you might know. Paper says law. Yeah, so National Hitchhiker Law is the 3 suggestions for today, Sophie. And I have to use these 3 suggestions and come up with a story. So National Hitchhiker Law. So what I'm doing is making a narrative from that. Okay, so now I come in and take away as much as, we've put down some pieces of information. Now we can pull some piece of information back. Okay. So that we can get the little pieces of information in and around the brush at his feet. It's kind of a fun way to throw just more little pieces of information into a drawing that, people will be wondering, how the heck do you do that one? No, and I got one more thing I want to put down. Oh, Mr. No Nails is... Aha! I win. I'll be with you in a second. There we go. So then it's the same thing. I just cut the guy out, but in addition to cutting our guy out, I'm going to cut out the trees. Let's see if I got that. It's being tricky. Sorry I'm not keeping up so good on the chat today, folks. Well, you gotta be careful around knives. Where are we at? Christopher's working for prompts. Just did a recent road trip. One of the billboards that read, 2 cows. Laughing while I'm sitting here craving Chex Mix and Moats. I have neither. There we go. Everything makes sense now. Oh, everything? Life, the universe, everything in it? There you are. Does anybody else like to draw outside of the house? Coffee shops, parks, massage parlors, extra. Oh my goodness, Jim. I draw everywhere I go. I draw in church even. I'm terrible. Too much. Just backpack got too heavy. I think I might, but I hate leaving home, so it's probably not going to happen. Sophie's stuck on the screen forever. Don't you think we need more cowbells? You can never have enough cowbell. Anyways, I've always support 70s bands more cowbell. What about accordions? Yeah, buddy. I think we need less cowbell and more accordion. There we go. Seriously, though, Jim, people are too much of a distraction to me. I used to draw at a museum, aquarium, etc. Hey, it's Paul Pate. I need to be comfortable when I draw. That's best at home. I've been able to draw in my car lately. That's been nice. I don't know what kind of weirdness, depending on where you're sitting in that car. I did get Cam over a fear of drawing in front of people when he was about 11. There you are. Paul's pants. According to the Germanic backbone to any good band, accordions are a Germanic backbone. I'm having a lousy time reading today, folks. Put my glasses on, so people. Yeah, people, Paul, that's what you said. No talking in the chat. Christopher has a sharp weapon. Uh-oh. I love people watching. I try not to be creepy, though. Afraid I am not always successful. I draw all the time. I think I showed this yesterday. When the sermons are going on in church, I listen, but I get really bored really quick. So I tend to do this while the sermons are going on. I just have 2 pens in my pocket. And there's Eve and the snake, and there's Noah and the water. There's the pillar. There's a big fiery sword. Water. It's just whatever. It's always drawing. Drawing the van. Nora's driving. I'm drawing. Unless I'm driving, and then it becomes really difficult to draw. Okay, so I'm pulling this stuff off the drawing now. There we go. So we're just a rough shape for the trees. And then we cut him out too. And then I'm going to do one more thing with the trees. Again, it's a sort of, you can only press so hard on the paper because you got, the knife here cutting into the surface of your paper. So this technique of application doesn't work in everything, because if you've got lots of wet on your surface, then you're going to pull all this off. It's just going to become, wet and just, that's it. It's not going to do its job anymore. And then some of it, you don't even need to peel it up. You could just go over it in white, right? Right. Depending on how my patience goes, that's what I do. I'll flip that right off. All right, so. Okay, so then where's the, can't find the cover for the knife, stick it in the board. Okay, what am I missing? I love people watching. Sketch note, Christopher. That is a whole thing. Zip-a-done rules. Weird clicking noise, or is it just me? I don't know. Maybe I'm tapping my foot again. I try not to do that. It's Paul's smoke alarm. Fix your smoke alarm, Paul. Dr. Work, got a meeting. Have a great day, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. Best accordions are Eugene Levy and John Candy, the Schwengi brothers. No, it's always going to be Walter Eustanak for me. Always. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Anyways. Paul, been hearing that for years. There we go.
Yeah, I likes me some Malter Usenig. All that polka. Da, 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 da. Did you? Okay, so here's a fun little game to play. What is the silliest band to come together because they equally played? Well, band, but what's the musical performers that came together because they both played bassoon? Does anybody know? I think it's bassoon. And also, Weird Al Yankovic gives the Smangy Brothers a run for the money, too. All right, so I wish I had this. So little bits of sophistication come. I gotta get a better camera. Come in more and more as we just lay in little pieces of information. But you can work negative on top of the zipatone. You can put down some more dark lines over top of the zipatone. Like it's very versatile to be used with layering. It's just as long as you're not working crazy wet on wet on wet. So but I kind of like trying different things out, and this is a fun one. Besides, it can make work look fancier than, you know, it, it might initially be, just because it adds, like I'm always talking about, more complexity and more that you've got a lot more recognizable pieces of information in your work, then the more people tend to gravitate towards it. So because there's so many different layers of value through here and complicated little pieces of information and the diversity of the lines, it makes a more fun drawing, really. And unless somebody knows about a technique, some people are going to look at this and go, "Hey, hey, what happened there, fella? Did you use your computer for that?" Now, there's also screens and stuff like that you can get for Photoshop to implement like gray toning on digital drawings. And I recommend you play with that too. And just erase out the parts that you don't need, right? Because it's fun. It just adds a piece of fun. Is this a Jeopardy question? Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Nice, Dan. You need to say who Frank Zappa. Who is Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention? Janet says, I have some zipatone and press type that has to be over 40 years old. Rick and Hoarders. So I have this. I am the exact same way, Janet, that I have been hoarding this stuff for some time. And I'll just do this. It's probably easier. That's how much I've been hoarding. It's all single sheet. And yeah, I got problems. So I need to be implementing this a little more, I think, because it's funny that you get X amount of tools in your studio space and you forget about them. And in the course of working on different pieces and different projects, you go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I had this stuff. Why aren't I using this? Come on, Chris, what are you doing? All right. And I still cut out these little clips and save them to reuse them because I'm a crazy. But it's the same thing as I say with everything else. You got to try everything. It's let your inner complicated your you know your experimental your crazy you out and have fun with this stuff and explore what it's going to let you do. Because I don't think you'll be disappointed. If anything, you're going to look at your stuff and go, I kind of like that. I got to do some more with that. Or, the process of this was too complex, and so therefore I'm going to pull it back, right? But, aha! What do we got? Does it still stick, Janet? Jan's going to check if it still sticks. It does! No, that's a good product. Yeah, my stuff's just, it's the same thing. This stuff is so old. Like this is Letratone. And, despite its age, it works fantastic. It does work fantastic. So, okay, so we've got our highway drawing, which I promise you I'll finish. And then we've got our hitchhiker. I'm just trying to move more quickly through putting some images down before we run out of time. Okay, so National Hitchhiker Law. And, here we've got our highway example. Here we've got our hitchhiker on the side of the highway as our example. And let's just pull in tight on his face here. That's perfect. Looks just like him. Yeah, I'm going to keep using these simple tools today. That's my rule. I always try to get involved with all kinds of different tools all the time in the studio, and by limiting myself on this piece I'm going to use this piece I'm going to use that, it sort of encourages me to try all the different stuff I have. Like these Le Pens, I'm not a fan. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of them, but maybe I will be if I abuse them enough by making pictures with them. So we'll see how that works. So we're drawing our guy. You get a little surprised. I'm going to remember to give him that beard because he's got a beard in that pic. So I'll have to get that down. Just generic guy. Just remembering all those things we know about faces and as we're drawing them. So I'll draw, when I'm drawing a person with a beard, I'll draw their mouth first before I draw the beard in. I don't know why. I've always done that. I feel like I've got Zipatone stuck in my face. Because you do that when you're using Zipatone sometimes. Can't say that about myself for age. For my age, nothing works. There you go. In the same folder, I have some old clay-backed repro paper, too. Oh, my gosh. Deleted from Japan still makes it and sells it. Excellent. You're familiar with the hit song. Their hit songs are Barb Stinkfoot and Dental Floss in Montana. The bassoon is subtle but not overstated. Y'all know my taste, so I appreciate the classics. Simon and Garfunkel both played bassoon in school. Just one of those stupid trivia bits. Yeah. It's sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. Whoa! If they just played that instead of guitar, it'd be a whole different group, wouldn't it? All right, so we'll draw his beard in here. So my intention with this, the text for this page, is I'm writing it in my head, is to do it like an informational 1950s. Hey, mister, oh, you scared me, Do you know about the new national hitchhiker law? You know, I can do it like that. So the what? Yeah. The reason that I just scribble out the, sometimes I'll do that where I'll just scribble the shape in with a pencil and then just draw it straight with ink is that if I draw the whole thing in pencil, I tend not to want to go back and ink it. I get, there's just this part of me, it's like, I already did this. I don't know what it is. I do it all the time, but I don't prefer to do it. So if I'm just having a fun day of being loose and scribbling and using Zipatone like I am today, I will just scribble it down like you saw here, and that's complex enough for me for the drawing part of it. And but it also makes me have to pay a little more attention as I'm drawing with the pen. So, and that's fine. We're just touching into our imagination in the first place, so we can do that. We can have that moment. So I'm going to come in with a Zipatone on this guy in a second. Just trying to keep some static scale of size for the panels moving across the page, even though they're not drawn in. So, I'll show you my taste. Do we have a Discord? Well, if we all try to harmonize, we're not very good at it. We will. I don't have Discord. I have Patreon, but I don't have a Discord. We tend to just chat it up and have fun here. Looking in the yellow pages for lawyers. Well, let me help you with that. I got a handy dandy book right here all about art law. I seriously read this back in the day. I found that by studying these things when I first started showing in galleries, that this really helped me out, have some sort of degree, some comprehensive degree of understanding when putting my work in galleries and stuff like that. And in addition to that, contracts and the like, and a lot of this stuff still holds up today. But there are differences in Canadian and American law towards and international law towards to artworks. Like if you're hanging in a gallery in Canada, then they have to pay you. If it's a professionally funded, if it's a federally funded, a provincially funded gallery, they have to pay you for exhibiting in their gallery. That's just a law that we have here in Canada. But if it's a pay-to-show gallery in Canada, like you've rented a gallery space to have an exhibition, then you don't have to pay anything. So you need a good tort lawyer, Barbara. Here we go. I need a good tart lawyer there. Butter tarts and all the yeah. So believe it or not, that's a hand in my head. But sometimes doing those little things, they help you out. They help you figure out some of those, questions that you might belabor yourself with when you're doing the inking process, if you're just drawing straight with ink without trying it out first. So that's why I'll scribble that like so. Look at this upturned hand. What? don't know what my neighbor's doing outside. It sounds like he's vacuuming his lawn. It doesn't sound like a lawnmower at all. It literally sounds like he's vacuuming. Oh, he's probably got one of those stupid air things. I'm just going to blow the leaves around. Okay, so now we're going to come in with the old Zipatone and Roni and throw some of that in there. Yeah, we have a big old pile of stuff here. Okay, where are we at? Actually, I'm my own in-house lawyer. Oh, there you are. I respect the law. Uh-oh. More cool drawings as always, Christopher. Later, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Dee Dee. Thanks very much. It was very nice of you. Would I ever do a stamp patchwork style piece? So one of the things that I'll do a lot is, looks like an old high school teacher. I love that comment. One of the things I'll do a lot is that I'll take existing images like the stamp. We did a stamp swap recently through Dee Dee's stream, and so I've actually done a couple of pieces using those stamps as bases in the background, and I just draw over top of them like I would anything else. If that's what you mean, or are you talking about incorporating stamps into? Because I tend to just be a guy who just draws everything, as opposed to finding fixed images. And having learned how to just draw everything has sort of saved me having to figure out how to, collecting things, and because I don't need any more encouragement in that department. I got enough stuff in this place. So now we're just cutting his face out with the knife, with the Zipatone here, and pulling his face back out despite the dark area that I put down. And I'm going to snake this little piece off of here, and I'm going to put it under his chin. No, I'll use this one. I got another one here I can use. I don't know if that helps, Sophie. Looks like an old high school teacher. All of the above. There we go. Yeah, so I'll do that. I can do another one of those this week if people want, where I'll take pre-stamped images and just incorporate those into the page. It's no different to me applying those to the surface as it is when I'm drawing on the jelly plated paper, or if it's this. I'll be talking about this a lot on Sunday in the tutorial I'll be doing at this gallery, and link will be at the end of the video down below. But that's one of the things I'll be talking about a lot at this thing, and showing a whole bunch of different examples of surfaces that you can use like a base in your compositions. So put a little shadow under his chin there. I've also used Zipatone where I just throw it down on the surface of an image, and then I have to, figure out how do I make this work in the drawing. I find that kind of thing fun. So it's just playing and testing out things and trying trying new things out. It's just all about exploration. It's all about experimentation and having fun. You know, allowing yourself some sort of cutoff point, like I'm not going to do this or this with it. And in that way, you're not overreaching yourself and getting worn out because you just keep making the project more and more complex. If you sort of set yourself some steadfast rules, like I'm only going to use these tools, or I'm only going to do this application with the tools that I'm using, I'm only going to pick these colors for composition, whatever it is. And if you can stick to those principles while you're working, then it just becomes fun. And because you've loosened up your own expectations that you've set for yourself, you can just go off. And I don't know, I'm a big advocate of just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks. But there we go. We got some. Okay, so I'll come in now. Now that I put some of this down, I'll come back in with the ballpoint. It's not. I guess it's not ballpoint I'm using today. Yeah, he's just got a leaf blower going out there like he's got a hobby. So I put a little bit of shadow on the nose, and I put a little bit of shadow around the eyes. So, and I got some over here on the hands. But rather than fiddling about cutting everything out that, you know, overlaps with the areas that I want the shadow in, I'll just come in with this white jelly roll pen and pull it back out again. And if you can see it, the loose roll that I had here in putting the Zipatone down on this panel is that it's only down on the hair and a little bit of shadowing. Not much, just a tiny bit, but just a little bit. Much thanks, Christopher. Bye, all you cool kids. See you later, Barbara. Thanks for stopping by. So here's 3 different approaches to the same thing. Now, you can do ink washes with this as well. You can, and you can put down different applications of Zipatone and utilizing different styles, different like you can see that the flat gray that I'm using is very different than this highly textured piece. And I've got both of these. I put a little string of that through here just to differentiate this space from that space. And then you can still go over top, you know, with a pen and just tie it all together. You know, or in a surface like this where I've got all of the bits of Zipatone throughout the head and hair here, if I were to lay a larger Zipatone piece over top of it and try to cut that out so that, you know, I can do an outline around this guy. The problem is that as I'm doing that, I might pull up a bunch of what we've already got down, so it should have probably been done in reverse that way. So there's things to consider like that. But again, the more and more complex and fiddly, the slower it makes you on the overall project. So if you're about taking that painstaking time and having everything precise, great, that's great. But if you're about just let's get this image down and keep moving, you know, stay loose, stay frosty. Okay, so we've got the highway, we've got you know, we've got our introduction to here's the highway, here's the bit of business. Then we've got our introduction to our guy with his thumb out beside the road. And then we say, hey, fella, and he goes, whoa, mister, you scared me. So whatever the narrative voice is and the silly narrative that we're applying to this page. There's a film that I saw called Dodgeball. And in this movie, that's the most prime example. I've seen this actually happen in a few different projects where you'll see these old informationals that we used to watch in school where it would, like lead paint and when using lead paint, try not to get any in your mouth, but they would always have some kid who's painting a fence or something like that. And they go, well, hello there, Bobby. And the kid would go, hi. But the kid always looks scared, right? Or when there's a science teacher comes in and we're going to talk about chemistry. It's like, hi, kids. And one of the kids always looks up at him because I promise you he's probably farting around with a Bunsen burner or something. I always love that in those old information films that we used to watch in school. So in this film, Dodgeball, there's a kid painting a fence and then, hi, Tim. And he goes, oh, mister, you scared me. It's like so beautifully on the nose that it just makes me think of every one of those other ridiculous things. Nuclear energy is your friend. Okay, I'm not that old, but you know what I mean. So now that we've got the zipatone down and we've got some of these little pieces of information that we're putting through our composition and building it up. Again, some of the stuff that if you got a representational approach to at least some degree of representation in the drawings that you're doing, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be photorealistic. They don't have to be the most grand drawings that have ever been done. Your objective in creating short stories is specifically that. You're trying to tell a story. So if you can get something that looks representative enough to a highway, to a hitchhiker, to a person's surprise and engagement, then move on. That's your job. And whatever your ability for drawing, whatever style that you're using to draw and to represent your ability, that's the stuff you can play with, right? But our objective is to tell a story visually and textually when we're doing stuff in the using sequential means. If it's a film or an animation, then it's not as much the specific text on the screen, unless people want to utilize semiotics in that way. But it's sound is the difference, right? But it's still words. It's still oration. It's still, or onomatopoeia, or whatever it is. Onomatopoeia is where you go, pow, and a person gets punched, right? That's the word represents the sound. So, but when we're doing our storytelling using sequential means, which is the incorporation of visual images and textual language placed on a page, you can make up for one or the other by using the opposite. So if you're very good at your text, your images need to be at least representative enough for somebody to go, okay, that's not a pair of scissors, that's a highway. And if you say, here on the typical North American highway, people look at that and go, that's not scissors, that's a highway, right? Is your everyday average hitchhiker. Oh, okay, so that's what this guy is. And so you can identify things hand in hand, what the one aspect with the other aspect. So don't get too concerned and don't get too worried about, well, I'm no Picasso. Well, you're not trying to be Picasso here. You're not trying to be anything other than just telling a story. So allow yourself that, and whatever tools that you use, whether it's Letraset or anything else, or Zipatone or anything else like that, play and have fun. What is it? I got that. Just be a little bit mental, right? Hold on, I'll pull it up. Here it comes. Oh, everything's experimental. I gotta make that bigger. It's a fun idea, though. So yeah, just explore and experiment and see what you can come up with and the telling of your stories. I think that I touched my lens. Sorry, everybody, and smudged my lens, which is why I'm not getting any focusing happening today, and I apologize for that. Oh, maybe I fixed it there. It's a little better anyways. You can see some of the more, not enough. Again, it's got smudge on it. I'm sorry for that. So we'll get that cleaned up. And so when I get it scanned, you'll see all of these different pieces of the Zipatone in the image, and that'll be a lot of fun because you get to see the different types of Zipatone that I'm going to use. So, but we're going to tell our story using these 3 words that I picked off at the top of 3 books: National Hitchhiker and Law. And so we're going to have a fun little commercial about that. But it's getting to be that time. And I got a big old mess of books to clean up, trying to dust all my bookshelves. Listen, I hope everybody's having a good day. I hope that whatever you're doing today with your creative exploration, that give yourself that avenue to try something different, something outside of your normal wheelhouse, and to play with it. Or even if it's something that you've utilized before in your images, that you're coming back to, give yourself a break when you're doing it, right? Like, don't, oh, this isn't working out exactly how I wanted. So use it however it's working out, but the next one's going to work out a little bit better, and if you try it again, well, that might be a little bit more to your liking. But don't beat yourself up and stop yourself from doing that. So I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. Oh, thank you, Jim. That's very nice of you. For those of you that get a chance, try to check out everybody that you see here in the stream, including the fantastic animator, Mr. Jim Luhan. But try to check out each other's videos or Instagrams or Facebooks or whatever. Here at the stream here, we tend to get an awful lot of creators that are all engaging with one another and sharing ideas, and it's very, very much I feel blessed that people are doing that. But at the same time, let's all look and see what each other are doing, because you never know what you're going to pick up from each other. I myself learn stuff all the time, right? From engaging with the examples that are put forward by others. So have fun. Okay, in the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. EST. I'll have this page posted in the morning for people to see. Feel free to make one-page ideas, suggestions, or prompts, or whatever else that you feel like doing in any of the comments of any of my social media. And in the meantime, have fun with whatever it is you're making, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Sit at home.